Good morning. Happy snow day. It doesn't look like a great day for playing in the snow though, does it? I'm going to read a little bit of our Albert Einstein book, and then there will be one question for you to ask. And as promised, she does not like when I record videos and it's not about her. Hi, Sush. Come here. Say hi. I know you're mad. Here, say hi to everyone. She's like, I did not want to say hi. There's Sush. All right, now let me read. All right, if you remember, this is helpful, right? If you remember, we left off with Albert and Elsa, and they had left Germany because of Albert being Jewish and Germany being occupied by the Nazi Party at the time. And they had settled in Princeton, New Jersey, and it was a small college town. We were in 1933. So the early years in Princeton were very difficult. Albert was 54 years old. He was not a young man. He was no longer startling the world with his new ideas. Then, just 3 years after their move to Princeton, Elsa passed away. Albert was lonely and heartbroken. His health suffered. He had barely left Elsa's side for the last 12 months of her life. Albert also kept hearing about friends who had been killed in Germany. With all of the energy that he had left, he was determined to do whatever he could to stop the Nazis. He played the violin at fundraising concerts, but that was not going to put an end to Hitler. Albert's famous equation, E=mc², said that it was if just a few atoms were converted to energy, the amount of energy produced would be massive. In 1939, Albert learned that European scientists were at work trying to make an atomic bomb. Albert feared what the Germans would do if they were the first to build such a bomb. So Albert wrote a letter to President of the United States, Franklin D. Roosevelt. He asked that the United States begin developing an atomic bomb right away. This could not have been an easy letter for a man like Albert to write. He hated war. He hated weapons, yet now he was asking the United States to hurry up and build the most destructive bomb ever imagined. Really, Sushi? Even the simplest atomic bomb could destroy an entire city and kill thousands of people within seconds. But Albert thought it could be worse if the Nazis were the only one with such a weapon. Partly because of Albert's letter, President Roosevelt had secret work begun on building an atomic bomb. Albert later reflected on this moment in world history. I made one of the greatest mistakes of my life when I signed the letter to President Roosevelt recommending that atom bombs be made. But there was some justification, the danger that the Germans would make them. After World War II, Albert spent time and energy trying to limit the development of atomic weapons. I do not know how the Third World War will be fought, he warned, but I do know how the Fourth will, with sticks and stones. What he meant was that after a third world war with atomic bombs, the modern world could be destroyed and humans would have to go back to living like cavemen. We scientists, Albert said, must consider it our solemn duty to do all in our power in preventing these weapons from ever being used. Even today, some people blame Einstein for the atom bomb because he discovered the relationship between mass and energy. But can anybody blame Isaac Newton, who first explained the laws of gravity, for every plane that crashes to the ground? In 1940, at age 61, Albert became a citizen of the United States. For the rest of his life, he remained in Princeton, New Jersey, and worked on something called the unified field theory. But surprisingly, Albert never produced a finished theory. In many ways, Albert's life had come full circle. Toward the end of his life, he wrote, I am generally regarded as some sort of petrified object, rendered deaf and blind by the years. He loved to take walks, just as he always had, and although Albert never drove a car, he loved to sail. He would take a one-engine boat, aim it at the other boats, and then, at the last moment, swerve aside. Sounds like a fun guy. In Princeton, he was a familiar sight, walking back and forth between his home and office, often chatting with neighbors. He spoke English with an accent. His shaggy hair, now white, grew even wilder and more. He often went without socks, belt, or suspenders. Once, some boys asked Albert why he never wore socks. Once, with a shy smile, he answered that he was now old enough that if he didn't want to, he didn't have to. Hi, Sush. On his walks, Albert was known to stop and help fix a bicycle, and when a young girl came to his house asking to help her with math homework, Albert not only did just that, but he also shared his lunch of can of baked beans with her. As for his own children, Albert rarely saw his sons. Hans Albert had fled Nazi Germany and later moved to California. Edward and Maliva remained safe in Switzerland, where Maliva died in 1948. Albert's sister and best friend, Maha, came to live with him in Princeton. As a child, Albert had a horrible temper that once led him to hit his sister in the head. In those later years, she'd smile and say, "To be the sister of a thinker, you must have a very thick skull." Life in Princeton was pleasant. In the evenings, just as Albert and his mother used to play duets, he played violin with other musicians. He ended up spending the last 20 years of his life at his house at 112 Mercer Street in Princeton. He loved the old house, its gardens, the way the light came in through the windows. When they first moved to Mercer Street, Elsa had a picture window put in Albert's study. And from there, Albert could enjoy the beauty and mystery of nature as he always had, watching birds fly, flowers bloom, and the morning sunrise. And then tomorrow, we'll read the last chapter, Albert's Time is Up. So go ahead and you can answer the question on the Pear Deck, and then go ahead and do the rest of your work for today. See you tomorrow.